figuratively, they are going to fucking wreck you.
Honestly, I think the best thing for autistic people was us finding out that we are autistic. Because let's think about it. We are, this whole world collectively is going through a mass awakening of people finding out who they truly are to the core on a soul level. And part of that is autistic people coming to the awareness that they are autistic. And this, even though we were undiagnosed our whole lives and we're a late diagnosed autistic, it's better late than never, right? So what the woman was talking about in that video was she was basically explaining how she witnessed a group of kids, teenagers, that were, you know, basically one kid was autistic and then the other two were neurotypicals and were basically pretending to be this autistic kid's friend and was making fun of this boy just like on live, right? And especially with this whole day and age in social media, a lot of, you know, fake friends, when they befriend autistic people, they will make fun of you online, okay? Definitely happened to me a lot. But now when people have things that they can go on live and do this kind of stuff, it's even more prominent that that's what they're doing. And the reasons to why these kids do this is because they are so bitter and miserable inside, and they are so pathetic and full of pride that because of how, she also mentioned this, they were raised, she says, her quote was, they were raised by fucking gremlins, okay? So when you're raised by, you know, parents that are apathetic, they don't teach you to have empathy, and when they teach you to despise people that are awkward instead of embracing those people, you know, those are the types of kids that are the worst towards autistic people, because they want to gain that sort of power, and they probably have seen their parents, you know, behave in this type of energy. But anyway, I think the best thing for us is the fact that we have awakened to what has been really going on our whole lives. And now that we have this awareness of who we are, we now know and can use discernment on the people that come towards us, because the people that come towards an autistic person are either A, good people, or B, bad people. There is literally no in between. And it's up to us to have discernment on if a person is good or bad. If they're good, proceed with caution and allow them into your life gradually and naturally. If they are bad, then that's when it's like, leave them alone, leave them where they're at, leave them in the dust, and go on and move on before you get yourself hurt and traumatized. So anyway, and ever since we have awakened to the fact that we are autistic and we have that self-awareness, we now can fully understand and gain that clarity of what has happened to us in our lives. And for people that are not autistic, they don't understand. But for us, what we understand that we know we struggle throughout our whole lives, and with the way our brain works and how we process, it's taking us a minute to really figure out everything. But now that we are looking back at our life through the lens of an autistic, it makes everything that we have gone through so much more clearer, and we understand our role was coming from our autism, and that the other person's role was coming from them knowing we were different and using it to their advantage to exploit us and to take advantage of us and to chastise us and ostracize us. So now that we know that the reasons why we were picked on so much was because of our disability, we know that we weren't really doing anything wrong to these people, but just merely existing, okay? And these people took it upon themselves to be a bully to us and to be nasty. Now, of course, you have your moments where it may be maybe in your teen years where you have your moments where you have been toxic, you have been dysfunctional, you have had your moments where you were not the best, or even maybe in your younger years you may have had moments where you were picking on other people and being a bully or whatever. I know that for myself. I was a huge bully when I was 10 years old to some 6-year-old little girl that was like my best friend's little sister. Okay, so sorry for her. So I don't want to say her name because I want to give you guys that privacy, but have so much regret for doing that to that little girl. And I even had moments where, like back in, like, you know, high school and stuff like that, I was not the most pleasant person to be around and everything, and I, was very mean towards people, you know what I'm saying? So I definitely get it. Like, I've had those moments where people didn't want to be around me, not because of my autism, because of the nasty attitude that I have. I get it. We have had those moments because even as an autistic, we are teenagers and we go through hormonal changes, we go through growing pains, and you have your moments where teenagers can be some of the meanest fucking people, okay? And if you still have people that are still in that teenage mentality when they're adults, that's where they're so fucking mean. They're acting like they're like 14, 15, 16 years old. You know what I'm saying? Especially 14, 15. That's where people are like the meanest. You know what I'm saying? Or 14, 15, 16, I would say. By like you getting like, by the time you're like 17, 18, you should be slowing down. You know what I'm saying? And realizing stuff. But if you're still like that, then yeah, you need serious, intense therapy to talk about what you're going through, baby, because you just have a lot of emotional problems and you have a lot of pain that you're dealing with that you need to sort out. And if you're hurting other people to make yourself feel better, that's wrong. It's morally wrong. And whether you are autistic or not, you have to know that, because we are all humans at the end of the day. Right. However, a side note from that is that when we are autistic and we have been through so many struggles throughout our lives, that I go back to this main point. The best thing for autistic people is us finding out that we are autistic, so that it helps us to navigate our lives in the best way possible. So now that we can give ourselves the accommodations that we need, and now we know that we have to take extra precautions to protect ourselves, and especially to my women out there, especially to my women out there, because you as a woman, you are a target for, first of all, as a woman, men target women for their own selfish gain, and they go after neurotypicals, they go after autistic women. But the thing is, neurotypical women tend to sometimes get themselves out of situations a lot easier than a neurodivergent. And a lot of times when a predator seeks out and they can tell that you are autistic, they will do whatever it is that they can to have their way with you. And that's why 90% of autistic women have gone through SA because of this, myself included. I already know, right? It's moments that I'm recovering from to this very day, and it's moments that that helped me realize that I was autistic, because it was moments where like I just didn't understand how could I get myself into a situation like that, and how come I wasn't able to get myself out of it. It was a burning question through my brain. And this happened to me before I found out that I was autistic. So once I found this out, that whole experience made sense. So it's difficult that a lot of us late diagnosed autistic people we got diagnosed so much later in life because, or just of so many things that have happened to us. And because of so many things that we didn't understand, it's actually like us learning the hard way is what pushed us to, like, us learning life lessons the hard way is what pushed us right into the awareness that we are autistic. Because it's like all of that confusion, all of that smoke and mirrors and everything that happened, and finally it's like, this is why this happened to you. This is why this has been happening to you. Okay? And side note, I'm not saying that a person that has been SA'd is the autistic person's fault. It's not at all. It's never our fault. It's their fault for taking advantage of us. But it helps us to gain clarity and to alleviate a lot of that struggle and a lot of that self-blame when we know that a person took advantage of a disability, of something that we cannot control. Okay? If that is the way that our brain naturally functions in a situation, and when we are going through something that is very traumatic, it's hard for us to process it at the time. It's hard for us to get away from it at the time. We are slower to process, and people take advantage of this. And that's why it's so important for us to know that us telling a dude no, us walking away, us minding our own business is not mean. Because a lot of times we think it's mean and we care so much about their feelings. It's not. Don't look at it as you being mean. Look at it as you protecting yourself. Look at it as you surviving. You just want to survive the day without anyone hurting you, harming you, or traumatizing you. Okay, this world is sick. This world is full of sick people that intentionally go after people like us with a disability just so they can gain power and control and feel good about themselves. Those people will get their karma while we're stuck with the trauma. But yeah, we gotta do what we gotta do, baby.